Just a few days to go for the Modi government's first full-fledged budget and expectations are sky high. At a time when the dichotomy between the markets and flagging economy is growing, will the finance minister be able to pull a rabbit out of his hat? What is corporate India expecting from Finance Minister Arun Jaitley? To discuss this and much more, I'm joined by Seshagiri Rao, Joint Managing Director, Group CFO of JSW Steel, Bhaskar Bhatt, Managing Director at Titan. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us on Bloomberg. Mr. Rao, I'll begin this conversation with you on what your expectations are. What do you think the government should be handling this time, and do you expect solutions to come out of this budget?
That way, government has taken several initiatives, but all that is not translating by way of investment demand and consumer demand on the ground. That is why we are seeing the growth momentum is yet to pick up. So in our view, I think the government should do something how to start the investment cycle, which can be a growth-oriented budget. So in order to start investment cycle, I think government should start spending at least on the short gestation projects, either roads, railways or highways. I think these are the areas where government should earmark substantial sums of money. Thereby at least activity on the ground can start. Number two is whatever governmental dues are there, either by way of tax refunds or by way of any other dues to the NHAI, dues to the infrastructure sector, these dues should be released because there is a lot of liquidity issues in the market that is also stalling either investment or consumer demand at the marketplace.
Sure.
These two things are very essential elements which the budget should do that, because today the way the government of India is also focusing about fiscal prudence.
Right.
There are corporate sector which are not able to really earmark substantial sums of money for starting the investment cycle. So there is a need for government of India to start that through this budget by earmarking substantial sums of money on the short gestation infrastructure projects.
Sure. Bhaskar Bhatt, comment on this. What are your key expectations? What would be on top of your priority list?
Well, I think the pronouncements of the government and the posture of the government has been very positive, and nothing happens overnight or by magic in this country, and I think the direction is right, and sentiment has been positive ever since the new government is in place. But now, you know, I'm not for doing anything. Certainly in the Tata Group, we are not doing anything on a knee-jerk kind of in a knee-jerk kind of manner. But infrastructure. I mean, let's take some of the basics which probably everybody is talking about.
Sure.
I think government could start actually spending big on infrastructure, which everybody agrees is so important for this country. Therefore, beginning to spend, and there is really nothing that stands in the way, in terms of spending on infrastructure, and that has its linkage effects and so on, which will further improve sentiment, certainly bring in more money, and of course improve the economy. The second, I think on GST, the pronouncements have been made and the promises have been made. I think this can, I'm looking at all those long-term positive effects to the economy. We, particularly for us, we work largely or entirely in unorganized sectors of industry and are trying to organize it. And there is a huge deficit there in terms of potential tax collection, as well as from our point of view, consumer value in terms of quality, transparency and so on.
Sure.
So I think GST can bring in a lot, both to industry and to the nation and to the public in general.
Sure. Seshagiri Rao, we've been talking about GST for a while. Do you expect this budget to perhaps offer some tangible time frame that will be met? This government has achieved quite a bit in creating a consensus. But do you think a time frame will be announced?
Yeah, I am very sure that they are willing to announce a date or a roadmap for implementation of GST. They have already said April 1, 2016.
That's right.
But what is most relevant is, will there be a guideline for giving a neutral rate, revenue neutral rate, which they talked about 27%, which we read in the paper. So unless that particular rate is fixed, even if GST is introduced, it will be very, very difficult for the industry. So therefore it is very crucial that the GST is to be implemented in right spirit by bringing all the products instead of excluding A, B, C, D items like tobacco, alcohol. If they take out those items and increase the neutral rate, revenue neutral rate to 27%, which we heard, then it will be very negative. I think bringing all the products into the GST fold, all the taxes to be subsumed as a part of the GST. Number 3 is a very reasonable revenue neutral rate is very essential to get GST very successful. So how much the government will be able to bring consensus in that among all the stakeholders and announce is a question mark, which we need to wait for the budget.
Bhaskar, but let's talk about gold. As India's biggest jeweler, what would be the one factor vis-a-vis gold that you would be watching out for from this budget, both from a saving standpoint and from a consumption demand standpoint?
Sitting straight in the finance minister's ambit is the import duty on gold. I think everybody agrees that that is a little too high, and it's encouraged smuggling, and therefore smuggling means business moves out of, even at the retail level, out of organized sector play, in which case tax collections, everything gets subdued or changes because there's a price difference. You know, the infrastructure bit, for example, it should be helped by the low oil prices today. So these 3-4 things certainly are sitting on top, and you know, a little bit of tweaking on the tax side, personal income tax, can put more money into the hands of public, and that again to trigger the demand is necessary.
Mr. Rao, you were talking about reviving the investment cycle, kickstarting private sector corporate capex. What needs to be done in the budget that can make the environment conducive for corporates to start investing afresh?
No, there are 2 things I think which we are expecting in the budget. One is short-term government should start this investment cycle by earmarking on the short gestation infrastructure projects. In the long gestation projects, particularly infra side, I think PPP model, they have to make it effective. In order to make that PPP model effective, it should be a win-win situation rather than where all the risks are to the private party and the government doesn't want to take any risk in a PPP model. Then it will become very, very difficult. That's why we have seen either in the power sector or in the road sector or in the port sector, we are not seeing any big investment coming from the private sector. So addressing the issue of PPP, which will be a win-win model for long gestation infrastructure project, is one of the essential elements. Number 2 is, in order to ensure that funds are available for this sector to take up our investment cycle back again, is 2 things. One is the bond market, how to deepen the bond market. There are so many issues from demand side and supply side. For the issuer point of view, there are several bottlenecks which are there today for issuing a bond, either in terms of withholding tax or in terms of trading, or in terms of demand side, who will invest in that. Again, there are a lot of restrictions in investment by the various pension funds, insurance companies, that request to be relaxed.
Sure.
So deepening of this bond market is also a very essential thing which is required. The last point in the case of these rates, real estate investment trust and also the infrastructure investment trust, there are 4 stages of taxation, which is, there is a huge amount of confusion.
Sure.
That is why even though it was announced in the last budget, still it has not taken off. So therefore, deepening of the bond market and also clarifying on tax related issues on the rates and the infrastructure investment trust, and also public sector banks are concerned this governance point of view and also recapitalization.
Right.
These are the 3-4 issues for raising resources for infra. and the long gestation projects, right PPP model. These are the two essential elements, I think, to kick off the investment cycle.
If I can take off from where Mr. Rao left, Mr. Bhatt, this concern over reviving investment cycle, who takes the lead? Should it, as Mr. Rao suggests, the government announcing investment program that is short-term projects, or should it be the corporates who take the lead? What should happen first?
This, in my view, it's you have to play. It's like clapping of the hands. Both hands have to come together. I think industry has to move forward, and so does government. I think the bigger ones like labor reform, for example, which in some states it has happened, but it is not nationally. That is a bigger thing, and I don't want to deal with that is conditional to investment. But I think the Make in India program, what is sitting in that Make in India program is if there is an articulation of certain, I wouldn't say certain policies which can enable this Make in India. And for us, Make in India is a very alluring program, because you make in India for India, and make in India for the world. I think India, we believe, has a competitive advantage in certain sectors of manufacturing, and that's a big program. And as a company, we have moved forward in all our categories, by and large making in India, and we are seeing traction, even economically sound decisions to make in India rather than go overseas. We still have imports and so on, and it's always a make or buy decision that determines that products source. However, we are finding more and more, for example, our precision engineering business is a globally competitive business where people find manufacturing excellence in India superior to China in certain categories, and therefore investments in that space are definitely welcome and possible. Similarly, we have problems, for example, in our eyewear frame manufacturing business. It is the duty structure doesn't help Indian manufacturing, it still helps import. And that looks, not supporting the Make in India program.
Mr. Bhatt, I'm going to take a break on that now. When we come back, I want to continue this conversation on Budget 2015, what corporate India wants, and more importantly, what is the messaging behind this budget, or what should be the messaging behind this budget on the other side. You're watching Budget Special on Bloomberg TV India. Will Budget 2015 fulfill India Inc.'s expectations? I'm in conversation with Seshagiri Rao, JMDN Group CFO of JSW Steel, Bhaskar Bhatt, Managing Director, Titan Industries. Gentlemen, we were talking about what the budget can do. Mr. Rao, if you look at it from a overall macroeconomic standpoint, one question that's always been top of the agenda is the fiscal deficit. The government has gone ahead and said it has set itself a target of 4.1. Are you concerned about the number per se, or what are you looking for from the macroeconomic arithmetic?
No, they have given a roadmap that they would like to achieve 3.6% in the next year, that is FY16, from the 4.1 of the current year. So is it possible? What are the areas where this fiscal space can be created, where Government of India can kickstart the investment cycle by investing in the short gestation projects? The space available is, one is on the non-plan expenditure side is the subsidy, which they can get some benefit on account of petroleum subsidy, which can come down. That is one area. The second area is how to increase the non-tax revenues. That is the second area where government can get some more amounts. The third area is the total amount of plan expenditure, even in the last year budget, was 5,75,000 crores. Plus another 3 lakh crores is available from the public sector companies. So the total amount at the disposal of the government on the plan expenditure is close to 8.5 lakh crores. It is more than enough to have the fiscal prudence and also growth if this amount is properly earmarked for various schemes which can give results in the next financial year. That can kickstart the investment cycle. I am not suggesting that the fiscal prudence is to be left in order to enable the government to start the investment cycle. We are also looking for creating enablers, thereby the private sector can join this investment cycle if they have the right PPP model. And also the growth will be mostly the manufacturer driven and also infrastructure driven growth.
Sure.
For that, if the enablers are created, either you call GST or financial reforms or the bond market deepening or the public sector undertakings recapitalization. So there are the various methods which could be done in order to ensure that the private sector participation will come
Sure.
in the phase 2 for starting the investment cycle.
So let me understand you right, and if I can just push this point again, Mr. Rao. So are you suggesting that if you see perhaps an investment program announced by the government, if the government is broadly fiscally prudent, the target does not really matter?
Target 3.6% can be achieved even with whatever numbers we have seen in the last year, because the areas where they can get fiscal space to spend the money is the subsidies. Number one, by rationalizing those subsidies where they have some scope, number one. Number two is the non-tax revenues, where they can increase those revenues by way of disinvestment or whatever other areas where they could increase. The third area is the amount available at their disposal, even assuming that the fiscal deficit will be 3.6% in the FY16. Then the total amount will be 8 lakh crores of rupees at the disposal of the government on the plan expenditure.
Correct.
So if this amount is properly allocated on various schemes, the investment cycle can definitely be restarted by the government itself in the next financial year. Then creating enablers for the private sector to come in.
Sure.
Which I talked about how we can have a right PPP model. Thereby it will be a win-win situation both for the private sector and the government. That type of structure has to be there. Whereas currently what is happening is all the risks to private sector.
Sure.
And the no return at all. Or return is unreasonable to come the private sector either in power or in the natural resources or in the ports or in the roads.
Sure.
Most of the private sector companies who have invested today are bleeding.
Sure.
Because this PPP model is not right, because all the risks are to the developer.
Okay.
Either in terms of land allocation. So these are various issues which are there. I think those risks are to be shared.
Okay.
And then returns can be reasonable.
Fair point. Every budget, Mr. Bhatt, is also a statement of intent by the government. What do you expect to hear? Will this budget be incremental in nature in that sense, or do you expect a complete overhaul?
I would not expect some kind of visionary budget, but in terms of intent, it must signal positive action in the direction which has been set by them, which means it is positive, it has long-term implications. For example, infrastructure spending. Okay, we are here, we believe infrastructure is the first and important issue to tackle, and this is the starting point of a 5-year program on infrastructure, and there is an end game which we can all visualize, whether you look at power or transportation and roads and so on. So it's an important messaging requirement. GST, as I said. So I think it is about let us say speeding up and correcting. I mean, GST was always there, but now let's go forward in a very decisive manner.
Sure. Seshagiri Rao, what should be the messaging of this budget? What do you hope to hear from the finance minister? This government has already managed to turn around sentiment. If this were to follow this up with action, what should the budget really stand for?
No, as I mentioned, how to create enablers for the private sector to come in to lead the next investment cycle, which can accelerate the GDP growth. So there are a lot of problems. For instance, today the land ordinance is concerned. Manufacturing sector, still there are issues in acquisition of land. So how do we make it to happen? Or who will acquire this land to enable the manufacturing sector to start? Similarly, natural resources. We have got a mining bill, but still mining ordinance, but it still rules are to be framed. How do we ensure that the natural resources which are available in India that would be given only for companies to add value within India in a transparent manner through auction route as early as possible. Thereby these natural resources can be used for value addition, which can lead to growth in manufacturing. This is the second thing. Similarly, capital raising. How do we ensure that the capital raising for various projects that would come up in